after the turnover.
He's got a man.
Harburg going deep. Caught.
Wow. That game on Saturday was kind of embarrassing. I almost came on here like the unknown comet with a paper bag over my head. And so I want to get into this. Is there trouble in Lincoln? Are the Huskers just cursed? I got a feeling there's more to it. And I've been saying it before. I know a lot of people keep thinking, oh, that doesn't matter and it doesn't matter. And just all my years, I've always realized losing can be addictive when it happens enough. But winning can too. And it's more of having confidence and or not having the confidence. And that's what I mean by losing can be addictive. Winning can be addictive. You get a team like Georgia or even Nebraska back in the 90s. When you win so much, you know you could win. You're so confident, even when you're down, you could win. But it goes the other way. It went through that era of constantly losing, especially losing close game by close game, any ranked team, even though you're not living that way or playing that way, it gets in your head. And when things don't go right, it's just human nature to start feeling like here it goes again because your confidence is not there. There's a difference in winning versus Rutgers, a close game, or Purdue, when you took the lead and you hung in there, you're right there. The key is when you kind of get smacked in the mouth like they did on Saturday to the point where you don't lose control and kind of did what you did the rest of the game. Because if you look at the game, it's what was my three keys? Well, number one was control the clock, which they did not. Two, and a big one, it's almost every game, no mistakes, no dumb penalties, no turnovers. Well, they had 5 turnovers to Indiana's 1. Mistakes all through this game from beginning to end, starting off with the kickoff going out of bounds. And I'm not going to put that on Barney. He's a freshman. You learn from that. But it's the little things like that that to me will turn a team that is used to, yeah, we have a lot of veterans on this team, a lot of good experience, especially on that defense. And I think you have players on there that's been through this losing streak, this losing games. Their confidence was down. Their confidence couldn't do it. I think Butler said it, Jamari Butler in his press conference. And when they asked him, what did he notice and all that? He even stated he noticed players having their heads down and the lack of confidence. And that's what I've been saying when people say, what does it matter they've lost? This is Rule's team. Yes, it does matter. When Rule comes in and going, hey, I didn't see this and all that, I don't think Rule's knowing, yeah, that's not a Rule team and it's not Rule's fault. But it actually will matter when you start playing players that haven't been in the program as long. Doesn't mean you can't take a loss. Doesn't mean because Dylan Raiola or Ja'Cory Barney or Vincent Shavers, these ones that just got here and they went through a game like this, that now all of a sudden they're going to start losing. These players that's been here 5, 6 years, 4, 5, 6 years, and has felt this losing and being one of the so-called quote best 3-9 team, losing all this. It's been so much that now you lack that confidence. Even though you are confident when it gets to a certain situation, it's just human nature. And I think, I bet you we see a big difference starting next year. We lose a lot of these players that were on this team. And yes, we're going to lose the experience, but you're going to see a different aspect and a different attitude, because you take players like Vincent Shavers and Ja'Cory Barney. I love them Florida players, mainly down there in Miami. They got a different attitude. So yeah, even though they went through that, they don't lack in confidence. And it's not like these players we had came in that way. It's kind of brainwashed in there when you went through it over and over and over and over again. And to me, I've said that and I kept saying it. The toughest win Nebraska is going to have is that 6th win. And so I think we've seen that. I was hoping we could get that 6th win before we got to this point, because just like last year. You got to that 5th win. We were 5-3. Couldn't pull out another one. Close game, close game, close game. You gotta remember we're having special teams problems, field goal problems right now. That's hurting you too when you're playing such close games. Is Indiana that good, or is Nebraska that bad? And mentally, like I said, mentally losing these years and trying to get that 6th win and how much it would mean, you will see a difference in this team once they could get 6 wins. I really believe that. But that 6th win is not gonna be easy, and none of these games left are gonna be easy, including UCLA, Wisconsin, Iowa. There's no easy win left. So, I think they can do it, and I think Rule can get it because the one thing they've done is they bounce back well when something has happened. But when you go back and look at that tape, it just didn't look like the same team that you've been seeing all year. I mean, you could just see it in Rule when he didn't have an answer. And when you get beat like that, it was that snowball effect from the beginning. It's not like they didn't have them off the field. It's not like they didn't have them, but you could tell Signetti he's a great coach, and he had them ready, and he was going to put the foot down and not let up, and even if it cost him. So he went for it on 4th down. It's not like Nebraska didn't have them to the point they could have stopped them, and it would have been a different ball game. That going out of bounds on the kickoff would have been a different ball game. Probably would have been better to let it go. If anything, call a fair catch, because once you catch the ball, even though you're going out of bounds, if you call a fair catch and then you catch it and you're in bounds, even though you run out of bounds, then you're still good. But I know Jacory wants to make a play, not on him at all. But I just think things happen. I always say when something happens, it's not one thing that happens. It's a multitude of things that happen. And next thing you know, you don't get out of your own way. I'm telling you right now, I think Indiana's a good team, but they're not as good as you saw there. They're not that great. And when I mean great, they're not as what you saw, because you could probably play these two teams again another 10 times, and I guarantee you Nebraska is going to win at least half of these. I really believe that. There's a difference. On this day, Indiana was there to play. They came out and play. They're at home. It's a different story, if you know what I mean. It's just a different mental aspect that you're seeing, because the one thing I want to ask, if Signetti could come in to Indiana, who's never really won before. They're now 7-0 for the first time since 1967. Again, they've never won 10 games in a row. Nebraska came in a rich history. Yes, it's been a while. A lot of you young players have never seen it, that knew how to win and knows how to win. And so you could get Signetti coming here and change their attitude, going, no, we're here to win now. Just Google me, you know. And you saw it on Saturday. That wasn't a team that wasn't sure if they could win. That was a team that was sure. And trust me, that team talent-wise is not any more greater talent than Nebraska. 27 transfers, all coming from like James Madison, Old Dominion. If these players were that great, they would have been on a Power 4 team already. Okay. Not saying they're bad players, but I'm just saying because of that, it's not like they were overwhelmingly more talented. I feel like it makes a difference when you have a 6th-year quarterback. To me, Dylan Raiola is a better quarterback, and you're going to see that as time goes on. They get in the NFL. I believe you're going to see that. What would Dylan Raiola be able to? What would he be like if this was his 6th year in college, and he's 25 years old? Like I said, Rourke was 25 years old when he came into the league, where Dylan is right now at 19. Dylan was 13 years old. So it's a big difference there. And that Rourke is good. He should be good in his 6th year. You should know what you're doing in your 6th year. Okay. Good size, 6'5". He's an NFL caliber quarterback. I think he's going to do well in the NFL. But to me, Dylan Raiola is a special talent. He's going to be really special, probably going to be a top 5 NFL draft. I'd be shocked if he's not. and he's still learning. This was only his 7th game ever at this level. Is only his 2nd game on the road. And so, and it's not how it's not his fault, but you could tell when they were going, he had some freshman mistakes, freshman, and you know, again, tip your hat to Indiana. They came out wanting to play, and it helped when they got out there and got the lead. Nebraska started at the 2. The turnovers, they had the confidence to the point where now their confidence was so high, they knew they were going to win it. Butler didn't call anyone out, but when he was talking about heads down, just no confidence, I guarantee you were probably seeing players that have been there for a little while. That's been there since probably back with Frost. I guarantee you weren't seeing the lack of confidence from Ja'Cory Barney. I bet you weren't even seeing the lack of confidence from Dylan, from Vincent Shavers, from a lot of these players that maybe even got here the last year or two. But you're going to see it's just a different attitude. And to me, attitude is it. It doesn't mean they didn't practice well and all that. Man, this game's probably what, 70, 80% mental. So that's the key. I think they'll have them ready. I think they'll come in there and fix what they had when they go back to the tape and all that. You're going to see it's simple things, lack of tackling, missing an assignment here or there, little things that make a big difference when you're playing. And next thing you know, instead of getting them off field, it's another first down. So you kind of wonder, how can Cignetti come in here in Indiana, who's never won, and do this right off the bat in year one, but yet what they can't do it at Nebraska, who has a history of winning. And of course, bringing them fresh transfers in, had the right attitude. Cignetti went and looked for specific players, winning attitude, veterans. Probably the smart thing to do. He wasn't looking who's the best overall 5-star, 4-star player coming out of Georgia or Alabama. He's looking, hey, who's won a lot? Who's confident? Who's got that experience that could come in here and take over right away? And you're probably only get 1 year out of him. I think that's what he did. Doesn't mean that's the way he wants to keep doing it. That's what he did when he came in. And you got to think 14 of them 22 starters this year are from the transfer portal. And so that made a big difference. Why is it not being done in Lincoln? There's a lot of factors, but this program was so hurt, so down mentally, you weren't going to solve that. Indiana was Indiana. Indiana was no worse or better than they were when Cignetti went in there. Nebraska is a lot worse, kept going down and down to a state that expects to win and has been waiting to win, and the pressure on you is so strong. It's different than Indiana. When you get to Indiana, they've never done it. It's like, you give me 4 or 5 wins, I'm excited. Get me a bowl game, excited. And we weren't expecting playoffs this year anyway. I said 8-4. Doubt they'd get 8-4. I thought they'd be 6-1 at this stage. A game they should have won was Illinois. That's one game they should have won. But if you want to ask yourself, what's the difference in this loss and the Illinois loss? What's the difference? Nothing. It's one loss. Rule even said itself. You lost by overtime to Illinois. You got your butt whipped here against Indiana. They both count as one loss. Guess what? You get to start over next week. Now you got Ohio State. Well, who says you can't go beat Ohio State? Even if you don't beat them, give them a game. It's not that they lost this game, and I guarantee you we all feel this way. It's not that they lost, it's how they lost. I saw what I've been seeing, and it's not that I'm saying that they're doing anything wrong. They just haven't mentally got over to the point when something bad happens, they could get out of their own way. They could let it go and say, that's it. Let's go in here. That's attitude. Attitude. That's it. It's the mental aspect of it. They got the talent. They're just as maybe even more talented than Indiana. I think Indiana has a better running game. I think that hurts Nebraska. I mean, I want to get into that on the offensive concerns. Do we have offensive concerns? We thought, well, hey, we get a quarterback, we'll be good. Well, we've seen it. Can't what we've scored. The most we've scored is 28 points. 28 points against Colorado, and we've struggled big time, either the whole game or the second half. And I think a running game would help. We're supposed to have that wide receiver core, the big wide receivers that's supposed to be playmakers, and that hasn't been coming out as much as you thought. I didn't think Indiana's defense was really that great, and yet I think they had a good scheme, and that was another one of my keys. I said, besides the mistakes and the turnovers, and that my third key was don't get out coached, and we got out coached. So we lost all three keys. That equals 56-7 loss. Turnovers, you can't, as you know from last year, and lucky for us, this is our first game with turnovers like this. Let's make it our last. But these are things that can be fixed. And a lot of it is mentally. They got to let this game go. They got to be able to move on to the next one. Because if you look at the defensive aspect of it, we have a good defense. I know people saying, oh, this defense blows. Again, that's where all your veterans are. That's where all these players that has been here with Frost and all that are. Got some young guys that go in there and play well too. But your veterans are on there, and that might be where the biggest part of your mental aspect comes from when things don't go right. When that you just can't make that last play to get them off the field. You're just trying so hard that you're not. Instead of like the week before when Rule said they just wanted to go out and play. Now they were in their heads. And I think Rule probably see that once he starts watching the film. You know, the defense didn't give up a rushing touchdown coming there. They gave up 5 in this game, 3 in the first half. I just think defensively, the letdown was basically from confidence, from the veterans and the confidence that and the lack of confidence that they had. We need next year's going to be different. A lot of these veterans are going to be moving on. You're going to see a lot of these younger players going. And yeah, we won't have the experience, but you're going to see a different attitude. So you'll see games probably where they shine and do well, and then you might see a letdown just from experience wise, or you might see a breakdown here or there. You might not. They might have it down, but experience comes in then. So, and to me, offensively, I think we've been lacking all year anyway of playmakers. The running game is one, but you got to get Dylan Raiola some help. You got to get him some help. All right. I thought Indiana's offensive line outplayed us. Their offensive line held out our defensive line like no one else has. And they're not that, I don't want to say they're not good. They're not that great. They're not the all American best offensive line you're going to see. Signetti's got all these players, what I said in my preview, playing above their talent. And that's coaching. So we just got a few things that we got to get fixed. A lot of it to me is mentally, and then when you do your job, you do your 111th that they've been talking about over and over again. 111th. It's again, it was how we lost, and so now you're probably asking, like I would be asking, what now? All right, we're 5-2, probably going to go to 5-3 before we play UCLA. I feel like UCLA is probably the game. It is at home. So I feel like that is the game they could get right on, but don't sleep on UCLA. I think they showed it this weekend that, hey, we got something in there. I think all these games are going to be tight, but if you could get that 6th win, that bowl win where you just take that monkey off your back and now these players could relax and go, whew, because realistically, everything over that's gravy. Yeah, you want to win them all. Yeah, you want to win 10 games, 9 games, 8 games. But then you have a bye and you go to USC, and USC can be beat. I'm telling you right now, our defense can beat them. But then you got a offensive guy in Riley who again could pick apart what he sees on film against Nebraska, which some of these coaches have done. So it ain't just the players, it's just being prepared in the right way, if you know what I mean. It's not like they're not prepared, it's like they're being outthought, by some of these coaches. And Riley's a good one, mainly offensively. And we have to find some more offense. If we don't get more offense, we're going to be in the same boat. It's to the point, does lack of Dillon running, does it hurt Nebraska? Would Harburg be a better choice right now just because of the threat of his legs? They keep talking about he's a lot better thrower now, a lot better passer. But he's one of those, if it's not there, he's going to take off. They have to basically spy him or keep an eye on him. They don't have to worry about Dillon r- running. And I think he can run. He's not going to be as fast as Harburg or as mobile, but maybe he needs to do that every now and then. Maybe he needs to put in that run here and there and let them, scramble out there and take off, even if it is for 4 or 5 yards. Sliding. He's got to be able to put that in their heads. And I think that would help. But we have to get some offense. We need a running back, and we just need that breakthrough running back. Just like Rule talked about, they'd run that bubble screen or whatever, and we'd get tackled right away. And then they, Indiana, do the same thing, go for 20, 25 yards. That makes a difference. All right. And I think we're just lacking that explosive play that we just haven't seen all year. We got, to me, three good backs. We need that one outstanding back that knows how to make that first guy miss to get you 20, 25 yards or even break it. I think Dowdell could probably be that, but he feels like he wants to run people over instead of go by people. And again, his turnover aspect came into play. And we just can't have that. We just can't have that. So again, this is going to be rough. It's a tough loss, but it's only one loss. And so we now get ready for Ohio State. It's going to be a tough game, but let's go out there and make it competitive. Let's go out there and just play ball. Don't worry about winning and losing. You do what you're supposed to do your 111, do your assignment, have the confidence you could do it. Don't let things bother you. Winning will take care of itself. Tom Osborne always said that. Winning will take care of itself. You go do what you're supposed to do, play the way you're supposed to play. Winning takes care of yourself. Most of the time when you lose, it's usually your own doing, you know, unforced errors, turnovers, penalties. Now, I want to talk about some recruiting news. We got some big recruiting news, and we got some recruiting news that is about to see Nebraska flip a big recruit we've been looking at. And I told you guys I really thought he was going to end up at Nebraska. Now, he hasn't done it yet, but it makes me even feel more that he is. And I've been saying, even when he already committed to Alabama, I said I really still feel like he'll end up committing to Nebraska. And the first one is, we ended up getting a commit. Even after that loss, we got a commit from Juju Marks, the offensive lineman out of Kansas. And he gave a commit. He's a 2026 commitment. And even as bad as Nebraska played, they were able to get Juju to commit to the Huskers, and that's a big one right there. And will be, like I said, a 2026 commit. I think this is a big deal. Uh, don't know how Rule got him to commit after that game we saw, but probably let him know, look, you could see we need your help. The other commitment we had, who is committed right now to Alabama, and that's edge 6'3", 215-pound Dawson Merritt. Again, like I said, who is right now is still committed to Alabama, but after talking and all that and hearing what I've heard, it looks like we could. I really believe. I'm telling you right now, he's going to end up turning around, coming to Nebraska. He loves to fit at this defense. But I'm telling you right now, he's about to turn around and flip his commit and come to Nebraska. And you might not hear this thing all the way up till the end of November, because signing day is the beginning of December. But he's about to commit. And remember, he's another player from Kansas. His family's close by, easily come see us. And that's why I've always thought he's going to end up. He really wants to be in this area. He just wants that. He wants to be on a winning team. I think a lot of it has to do with how do we do the rest of the year. And I feel like we need to show, yes, maybe we're not going to win it all, but no one expects us to win it all this year. Get to that bowl game. Get at least, I want to say, try to get to that 7 win. 8 would be best, but it was going to be tough to get 8. It's going to be tough to even get 7. But Dawson's another one. I'm telling you right now, he's about to commit to Nebraska. He's about to decommit from Alabama and come to Nebraska. And wouldn't be surprised we don't hear that anytime, but don't be surprised also you don't hear it until signing day. But again, I've been saying that for a long time, even when he committed to Alabama. That's where he's probably going to end up committing. So that is all I had there, guys. And it's nothing that cannot be fixed. I really believe Rule's going to do the best he can this week. They seem to always came out and did their best, mainly after a big loss like that. And you could just see it in Rule's face when he was on there. He really didn't have an answer because, like he said, he really thought they'd come in here. I think he really thought they were going to come in here and win this game. You know, not only they were going to play well, but they're going to win it. He ain't going to come out and probably say, but he just said, I just thought we'd play a lot better than that. I'm just shocked how it came out. And I think we all saw that. I tip my hat to Indiana. They were ready to play. But I really believe if they played 10 more times, even in Bloomington, Indiana, you'd probably see Nebraska win 5 or 6 of these games, maybe even more. So doesn't take away what's already been what's happened. They got whipped. And that was Indiana's day. 1 for them. It's only 1 win for them. It's only 1 loss for Nebraska. And Nebraska just wasn't ready. They weren't ready to get smacked in the mouth, and that's what we saw. Thank you for watching. If you don't mind, if you haven't done it already, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's something you could do for the channel to get it out to other fans. And like always, smash that like button. Until that next video, go Big Red.